What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be talking about a drawing exercise I've been doing lately. This is an exercise where you basically take a bunch of blobs that you've drawn on a page and turn them into faces. It's really helped as a small little thing to do every day and something to kind of boost the creativity up a little bit and practice more faces. To start with, you're going to end up making a bunch of blobs on a page. I'm using a marker that was from a random set that's just pretty cheap online, not my good markers. And the same with the sketchbook. This sketchbook is pretty bad, which I think encourages me to not care what's going in the sketchbook really. But I always start out with just making a random shape in the middle. I think it helps inform the rest of the shapes so that you can kind of use this as a guide. And since this is a bad sketchbook, then you're probably going to get some bleed through if you're also using a burner sketchbook. So either use a better one, which I'll do in the future, or get a paper like this and stick it in there, and then you don't have to waste a bunch of pages. And sometimes I've done that in the past anyways when I forget, but oh well. So from the middle one, after you've made just a random shape, the things that I try and be aware of are this specific blob right here is a little more symmetrical, which I think is important if you want to practice some faces that are head-on instead of a three-quarter view or a profile. But as you're making the rest of the blobs, I think the faster you go, the easier it is to not think about them, and that's a good thing if you don't want to be thinking about is this going to be a nose, or is this going to be the neck, or whatever, while you're making the blobs, and you want that to be a decision you make later when you're drawing. If it's something that you don't care about, then take your time making the blobs and think about it as you go. The main thing I always think about is just that straight-on view, that I'm like trying to make sure I make a couple of blobs that are symmetrical. Otherwise, other ways to do it is to get a friend to do it. You're never going to know what your friend is going to make as far as a bunch of blobs on a page go. And so that's a good way to not have any control over what they're going to look like to begin with. But recently I've just been making a bunch of them, so I've been doing all the blobs myself. And I always try and keep a decent size and distance between them so that the page ends up looking even better in the end. But when you make that center shape, then you can kind of use it as a guide for the rest of the shapes to kind of fold into each other so the gaps are about even. So once you get started drawing, I think that the biggest question I have gotten has been, how do you start? Where do you go? Like I keep trying to draw a face and it just doesn't look like yours. And my biggest tip is to start with a nose or a feature at a time. So I like to start with the nose because I think it's pretty easy to look at a blob like that, especially the asymmetrical ones, and say like that big notch is a big nose. And once you have that as a starting point, then you can kind of use it as a guide for the rest of the faces. You can start using normal drawing techniques, as in, here's my nose, my eyes would be about here, and my ear would be around here. And so I like using it as a guide in that way, but there's other features you can do. You can start with your eye, you can start with an ear, you can kind of step back and like look at the whole shape as a whole and try and imagine what face you would want to do. You can also predetermine something if you want like a limitation, say like I'm for sure going to make a beard on this one, or I'm for sure going to draw a dog instead of a person or a vampire or something. And you can use a random generator online if you can't think of any ideas for that, just a subject generator. And so here's the finished page. I hope this has kind of helped you and inspired you to do a little bit of drawing yourself. This has just been a fun exercise for me. And yeah, let me know what questions you have. I've been making a lot of these recently and have really enjoyed it. And I hope you start doing it and enjoy it yourself too as a fun little exercise. See ya.